Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Roots Report on the Poulter's Talk Sports Podcast. I am Daniel Poulter, beat writer covering the Oakland Roots, as well as Cal football and the San Jose Earthquakes. I'm a Bay Area all kind of guy. But today we are talking about the Oakland Roots, who, for the first time this season, fell at home to Orange County SC 1-0 in a game that has so many storylines. This episode is going to be chock packed. As always, if you love this content, if you want to see more of this content, make sure to subscribe. I think we're about to hit 100 subscribers. And as always, rate on Spotify or whatever lovely service you enjoy this programming. But let's get to the fun stuff here. This was the first kind of knock back to earth, I guess I would say, for the Oakland Roots. They lose 1-0 to an Orange County team that they probably should have beat. I'm just going to be very blunt. Orange County is a decent team, and I'll talk about some of the things they did too, because Orange County definitely threw a wrench into the plans. I will also be talking about the gigantic elephant in the room that is Raphael Spiegel, though we'll get to him. Trust me. We'll have a segment on it. And him going viral on Twitter and USA Today. Okay. So, first gut reactions. I'm also going to bring up there's a lot of important things we have to digest with this result. Most importantly, or it's not importantly, but let me see if I can make myself all tiny and stuff. Is the Roots did not have a full lineup. And this could be a massive concern going forward. But I also want to stress Orange County has a United States national team 16-year-old who's on the U17 team. He was called up for international duty. Their 17-year-old striker who comes off the bench, who is seen as the kind of the future for their striking position on international duty. I think it's Zub. Is it Zubak or? But there's their go-to midfielder who does everything for them / like forward. He was injured. This was an amazing opportunity to get some points. You're at home, build some momentum. You're going into a bye week with the Rowdies who, oh God, we'll get to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, their next opponent. But spoiler alert, I don't have high hopes because Tampa, they are good, 3-0 and looking like a juggernaut, along with Louisville City in the East. But let's talk about this lineup. The things that we notice, the things that we statistically can prove, and the things that we can speculate about. Things to bring up. Peter Wilson was called up for international duty by the Liberian national team. They did not use him or even have him on the roster of their game, which I wouldn't be surprised has ruffled some feathers maybe inside the Roots management side, because like if you're not even going to have him on the roster, why is Peter Wilson going to international duty? It's an honor to represent your country, but also if your national team's not going to use you, Oakland Roots could really use some scoring right now. And the Roots could use a lot of things outside the midfield. Tommy McCabe and Babosi, though they did have a couple blemishes, a couple crosses from McCabe, a couple passes from Bayarunga, they have solidified themselves as a true amazing duo in the middle of this team, and I'm excited to see where they can go from this. But the reason I bring up the starting lineup is things we knew that Peter Wilson would not be starting. We had a strong suspicion that Mark Fisher, who got injured last week against Phoenix, would not be playing. And we wanted to see what Ryan Martin would do with this team, what he would assemble for us. And I'm not sure I don't know if he cooked. I think I think we got some gas station sushi. Was not strong. But I think that was the whole team. They came out flat, and I'm going to be bouncing around like a pinball through a lot of this early section, so bear with me. They came out flat. They kind of came out like a team that thought Orange County would allow them to do a lot more of the stuff that they were had done against their three previous opponents, against everyone except for, I guess, New Mexico, because New Mexico did control the ball a lot, but against Monterey Bay and against Phoenix, the midfield / even like the outside wingers had full control of possession for the Oakland Roots in those games, and I expected a lot of the same. Watching the film against Colorado Springs for Orange County, the midfield was just non-existent. They just didn't have any force, or more specifically, possession controlling through the midfield. They kind of ignored it. They went all the way to the sides, came back around, and used a lot of overruns and far driving overruns and just deep level passes so they could just slide underneath the defense, curl in, and they would have a great run. So that's actually how their first goal, the only goal happened. We'll get to that in a bit because there's a lot to dissect with that goal, because there's a lot of blame to go around, but it's not probably where you think the blame's going to go around too. So we'll get there eventually. The big thing is we knew Fisher probably wasn't going to be here, so it's like who's starting up top where Wilson usually is, and who was going to be at the right wing back, or at least that area. Very key words. So I had gotten word before the lineups had been released. I had heard that they were going to start. Hackshaw would be coming back into the starting lineup, and they'd be having Gibson at least in a looking on paper as a right wing back type style position. This actually didn't end up fully actually happening. Well, I'll show you guys a heat map later. I'll probably get to it in a few minutes here after we talk a little bit more about these observations. Gibson kind of played exactly where he played against Monterey Bay, and I believe against New Mexico, where he was definitely that right winger position. There was times where Tyler Gibson was the furthest player on the field. Like if you look at his map, it is hilarious. At some point, we were pointing this out in the press box. He was not the right wing back. So, and another thing to keep in mind with Ryan Martin's system is they will, on a snap, change their structure at every point during the game. They have a different formation attacking. They have a different formation defensively. Within everything, there is micro versatility, where every single player is can be at any single position, which is very stressful when sometimes your players may or may not be good enough. But in theory, it overloads your opponent and makes them can never expect what you're about to do, and you don't have a lot of tendencies because you're always changing, you're always going, you're always flying through it, you're always doing different things. And that's why Gibson, there was a lot of times where even on a corner kick that got cleared by Orange County, and I think they had like 31 clearances, which are 31 to 37 clearances, which is batshit insane. Biarunga was all the way back on the center line, like immediately after the play. Him and McCabe, you can almost see as like two just roaming missiles of possession. I really, really love what I saw. Babosi definitely struggled a little bit more in this game, though he did have his flashes. I'm sure on the film they're going to show him a bunch of passes that he's going to be really upset at. I keep coming back to the statement. The USL as a level is about making your opponent make a mistake, not you having, because the team with the better players doesn't win in the USL. It's the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, which is so massively clear in this game right here, where the one goal for the Roots, a massive mistake by multiple players, leading to the goalkeeper doing little do-say-do. We'll get to it eventually. But from my heat map understanding and also just looking from the press box, we've been talking about, like, because as you look at this, let me see if I can move myself up. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Ha 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 ha. Technology. Bot Mob has Michael Edwards down here, but the three center backs that you would say that are on this roster are Hackshaw, Garcia, and Edwards. They came in as advertised as center backs type thing, where Fisher and Tingy and DeFacente were seen as left back, right, or like left wing back, right wing back type, like not pigeonholed, because I think Tingy and Fisher could play midfield, but you getting my point. You getting my throwing down. Michael Edwards' heat map was as traditional. It felt like a right back as you could physically be. And I think it was Hackshaw and Garcia as the center backs, Edwards as a right back, Bravo as a left back. We also learned, because Bravo came out just after halftime, which caused a lot of this the goal drama. Ryan Martin told us in the press conference afterwards that it looks like that they said they took him out as a precaution. Bravo wasn't the best keeping, but he was also Orange County identified Hackshaw's weaknesses and Bravo's weaknesses immediately and attacked it. They saw those two and circled. I don't know if that was part of their prep coming into the game where they assumed Hackshaw would be in the starting lineup, but they saw immediately Bravo and Hackshaw on that left side, and they attacked all night. They were doing deep balls over the top because they knew they could run past Hackshaw. And I know the fan base when it comes to Oakland Roots fans are pretty done with Hackshaw. And I think he still can have value. Because you look at the FOP mob and you look at the stats online, and his aerial duels are great. The things that that Hackshaw is good at, he was great at last night. The problem is anyone who's faster than a jackrabbit is going to make him look like barbecue chicken. And the problem is, if you have to have Bravo helping him on that side, it opens up to people then attacking Bravo on his other side. And that's concerning. But also, when we talked to Ryan Martin after the game, he said, I don't think we have a healthy right back on this team right now, which is deeply concerning because it's week 4, guys. It's week 4. You shouldn't have 5 injuries on week 4. I don't know if that's training too hard or maybe the preseason schedule or just really bad luck. I don't know if it was an electrical storm, 49ers coming in. I'm kidding. But I'm fine with I just changed my statement in my head. I think in an ideal world, it is, of course, Garcia and Edwards as your backline 2 center backs. Going forward, because when we talked to Ryan Martin after the game, it sounded like Florian Velo, I could see him maybe playing 20 minutes against the Tampa Bay Rowdies or playing against the home game against Tulsa in 3 weeks. Seems like that was the target date that for him to come back into the team if there's no setbacks. Tingy and for Mark Fisher, it sounded a lot worse. He didn't go into specifics. The Roots are being a little more tight this year when it comes to their injury transaction availability, which they are not required to tell. But from just kind of decoding Ryan Martin's mannerisms and also kind of his vibe, I don't have an official timetable, but I wouldn't even think about either of those players for probably at least a month, if not more. They are just not options right now, and I don't think you can count we're saved if Mark Fisher comes back next week. I think it's going to be a while for both of them, which really, really sucks because both of them are really, really good. Other players to note in this, they moved Trejo up top with Batash playing kind of like an attacking midfield a little bit. Prentice with Trejo as well up there. And then Gibson kind of just floated. He just floated around. But I really... People give Gibson a lot of shit. But I do think that Gibson has the brain and still the technical ability, especially with Tommy McCabe, he's not going to be the flashiest, but he's probably not going to make that many mistakes. Putting asterisks on this, we'll get to the goal, because I also don't think that's fully his fault, but I think it's a whole bunch of that's unfortunate. Other things to talk about here. Danny Trejo seems maybe that he's not fully back from his injury yet, because it feels like I haven't seen him beat a defender yet. Like, he's known as the 1v1 duel guy, like outplay guy, and he hasn't outplayed anyone yet, which is concerning. And he also, when he gets the opportunity to do a shot, it seems like he's a second late. I don't know if it's processing or if it's injury wise, if it's just not fully clicked there yet, which is a concern, because as right now, we talked about in the preseason, the combination of Danny Trejo, Peter Wilson, and Florian Valot should be a top 3 offensive attack in the league. And all 3 of them have a big old goose egg of 0 points so far, 0 goals, no assists. And and also 0 playtime together. Yes, Florian's been out all the games, so that's of course going to be 0, but it's 4 games. These are the guys that you're spending, in theory, a little bit of your change on. Big money. Like, Trejo was not cheap from Birmingham United. Is that Birmingham United? From Birmingham. I'm still super, super high on Tommy McCabe. When it comes to who I think in future games will play right back and left back, depending on Bravo's injury, they could go towards, let me scroll down here for you guys to our massive options on the bench. And because they emptied the roster when it came to defenders. Jesus De Vicente came in, looked okay. He's been a little overwhelmed so far, but I think by the end of this, like halfway point of the year, he should be good. I do worry that Ryan Martin is going to pick Hackshaw over De Vicente, which each has their negatives and positives. I just worry about a team like the Tampa Bay Rowdies is going to just hammer both of them, to be honest. And then on the right back, I do think there's a non-0% chance you could move Michael Edwards over there if you do decide to play Hackshaw for the full time. That is very worrying. Very worrying, but overall, and then we also saw the debut of a couple new players. We saw Jesse Maldonado, who was from the Monterey Bay system. He's been hurt over the last couple of years. They do envision him as a right wing back / right back. He could be kind of the stopgap option. He was signed on a 25-day contract. So this is, you have him basically for the next 2 games at least. So if you're going to use them right now. Get that stuff rolling, see what's going to do. And then we also saw Santa Cruz's Bradley Roberson made his official on-field debut. Really happy for the young kid. He was only in for about 8 minutes, so we didn't really get to see too much, but intrigued to see what he brings in the future. We also saw Bertrand Jacousin, the French striker, which the analytics really didn't like him, but the eye test in person, he looked really good, which was very strange. He brought a twitchiness that is Trejo-esque. He was able to immediately, the Roots had basically, without Fisher, they had absolutely no crosses. It was actually quite concerning. But I would have to go look at the advanced stats, but I think Jacqueline had so many of their crosses, and he was only in the game for about 20 minutes. I liked what I saw from him. I think he'll be a great sub a lot of the times for Trejo. If you're going to bring Trejo out in the 80th minute, put this little French spark plug in, and he's just going to go crazy for 10 minutes. I think that's a perfect role for him. Things that the only 4 players that did not get into the game, even though Bob says Kendall did, he did not, was Ali Alesnawi, Emilio Martinez, and Luka Rocic. I was surprised that Luka didn't enter the game. His spot got yoinked by Roberson. Roberson is on the roster for, I believe, home and away games. So it looks like he has a higher standings, and also Keeley does. Jackson Keeley was the first guy to get in. I've seen some comments in the Discord and on Twitter and Reddit of why is Ali Alesnawi not playing? And I think it's very clear to me. I don't have this confirmation, but it's just very obviously looking at it. They see him as a central midfielder, and you have Babosi and McCabe, who have played every single minute of all 4 games so far. And those two seem to be the engine that is going to push this team forward. So I don't expect to actually see, even how talented he is. It's a super luxury issue to have that one of your best young players is basically trapped behind 2 even better players, which is a great problem to have, especially with how much people are getting injured. We'll see what happens. I also could see if they kind of hit the emergency button and put Ali maybe on the right side where Gibson is, and see where they go with that. But I really think it's become clear that they view him as a central midfielder and nothing else. They don't see him as a winger. They don't see him on the sides. They don't see him up front or even defensively. And he's just blocked. And that's okay. At least on my end, I feel that's totally fine. What else here? But if you have to replace Bravo and Fisher next week, or not next week, 2 weeks from now in Tampa Bay, it's going to be a stressful time. Well, let's get to the first goal, everyone. Let's begin our descent into madness together. Here is the first goal. And I'll have sound effects for after this for what I think Spiegel was feeling in this moment, because I'll play this goal for you guys, and we're gonna CSI it. We're gonna dissect it, because I think there is a lot of issues going on. So it was a deep run, and then Spiegel just gets absolutely killed. So first of all, let me bring up the sound effects here. Let's see here. So Raphael Spiegel, I think he was right here. Right here. Oh, God damn it! Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Spiegel got sent to the Shadow Realm here. But is it Spiegel's fault? Here's the question I have for you. Is this Spiegel's fault? And the non-cop-out answer is yes, but it's not mainly his fault. Let me see if I can also find this goal here. So the first thing that this video does not show, but I will explain to you, is that this player right here, who serves up the long service cross for the goal chance opportunity, had picked up this ball from a poor or misguided pass from David Garcia, who looked like he was trying to hit Trejo or Batash in stride on an attack going forward, and then they kind of got jumbled up, picked, and then it immediately turns into they strike right here. So more context for this moment. Here's Tyler Gibson. Here's Hackshaw. This is Gibson had gotten moved to the left side as a I believe left wing back type position, but he had just been swapped. They'd just taken Bravo off. They put in Jackson Keel in, and within 20 seconds, this play happened. As you can see, it was at the 46th minute. It legitimately, the second half had just started. I had just like gotten back into my seat, getting ready for the second half, and then boom, it just happens. And I think this was a lot of I have never seen Hackshaw and Tyler Gibson on like in the same coordinated pile on this left-hand side. So this is probably not something they super practiced. This was just kind of, oh, Bravo's hurt. We have to have an emergency because our entire defense is turning into string cheese. And they got beat over the top. And this alone is not Spiegel's fault. This is a defense communication issue that is usually you set up your who's going to take what or who's going to do what as a defensive line. But they legitimately, it was 20. Like, I cannot stress how much. It was bang. It was immediate. Like, there's no time for them to be able to be like, okay, let's set this shit up. It just happened. And this was perfection by Orange County, striking right when Oakland was weak. Now let's get to the point where Spiegel gets thrown under the bus a little bit. So, why is Spiegel here? Okay. Raphael Spiegel has a massive issue as a goalkeeper of he is like let me do some double checking so I'm not lying to you all. Okay. Raphael Spiegel is 6'5". He is a big boy. He is a tall, menacing, crew cut Swedish man. He is you could describe him as lumbering, as a fat man. I know slow. My 40 time is lightning quick, I can tell you. Super fast. I beat all the other rocks. Oof, they don't even move. Raphael Spiegel comes off his line way too much. And when he does come off his line, he's usually wrong. There's usually a confidence. I'm not sure if it's a confidence issue or an overconfidence issue, but he kind of it's usually he'll be like, oh, my defenders don't got in. His defenders are usually like, I have this, which then turns into him taking the worst physical angle of all time. This is impressively bad. Like, okay, if he had stayed on his line, it's still a 1v1 opportunity. It's a great chance for Orange County. And you can use your 6'5" frame to take away the angles. That's the thing he could be really, really good is using his gigantic body, gigantic limbs to narrow the angle, cut off the attacker. It's goalkeeping instincts 101. Like growing up as a kid, playing through all the systems in Northern California, I know these things. And he does it awfully. He is a master. He went through the West Brom system, and he was valued, I think some sites have has like 750,000 as a 20-year-old. And the transfer market. And this is what this gets you as a 34-year-old. Like, what are we doing? It's not Spiegel's fault he got put in that situation. But also, I want a little bit more. And we're going to talk about it later. About all the Spiegel antics. And all the things that we will not have to worry about for 2 games. Not 1 game. Probably 2 games. And maybe 3. So, this was the first goal. Orange County. They just absolutely dumpstered it. I brought up Raphael Spiegel's stats. And Spiegel is a weird case study. And going through all of his results, he'll either give up like 1 goal or like have a shutout. And you're like, I love that Spiegel. Or it is a runaway yakety sax train and he gives up 3. and they're usually really bad. And let me also stress, if Raphael Spiegel is a person, I enjoy my interactions, all these other things. I just don't know what he does here. That's me, I guess, being too mean. He is a great offensive weapon, which is the modern day goalkeeper is. You are the beginning of the attack. You are the strength. You start the press from the back. You are a monster weapon. But I want you to stop the ball. And I know that goalkeeping has changed, and the value of a goalkeeper is being a weapon more than a goal stopper. But I will flat out say it right now from the treetops. The Oakland Roots will not make the second round of the playoffs with Raphael Spiegel as their goalkeeper. There's too many Spiegel games. There's too many times. New Mexico last year. Let me see if I can find the exact game. Yeah. They had scored 2 goals in the first 4 minutes and got blown out 3-0 against New Mexico. It's not good. Raphael Spiegel has too many Spiegel goals. He has had 2 clean sheets in his history with the Oakland Roots. One happened against Lexington at the end of last year, and then there was Monterey Bay, of all things, to start this year. I don't know if the starting goalkeeper at the end of the season is on this roster. If I was in the Oakland Roots Council of Elders that decides everything, if I was writing Martin on that council, that group chat has to be searching for goalkeepers. As people know from listening to my content last year and this year, I am a Kendall McIntosh fan. When he has those huge moments, there's times where he will play out of his absolute skull. But there's also times with Kendall McIntosh where got brought up, I guess, recently. If you just pepper him from outside the box, there's a third of a chance that it's going in. And that's really unfortunate because he is an undersized goalkeeper. He is if he was a few inches taller, or longer in his arms for his wingspan, he would be the perfect Oakland Roots goalkeeper. But I'd be scanning every MLS team, their third goalkeeper, or even their second goalkeeper, and see who you can get on loan. I know in the past, Oakland Roots have been very anti-loan on sending players out and sending players in. From my understanding, it's a lot of, hey, we don't want to pay to develop your players that then you're going to sell off of our development. We have the 510 program. We want to develop our own players so we can sell our own players and make a whole bunch of money. And that's understandable. But also, if the Oakland Roots want to have a home playoff game, you need to have a better goalkeeper on this roster. Just flat out. And even if that means, if Ryan Martin really wants a weapon goalkeeper, go get a different weapon goalkeeper. Because if Kendall's not the style of goalkeeper you want, because he's more old school, more in his box, less an offensive weapon, less a outplay. Because Spiegel has had these moments where he sees Danny Trejo give him that look, and he will bomb a shot, and it legitimately gives you an offensive opportunity out of the goal, and that is a game changer. I understand that that's modern goalkeeping. But it's like a wide receiver in the NFL. They're like, oh my God, he runs a 4.28, and he's no defender could ever touch him, and he runs down the field like a hawk. But he has a 25% catch percentage. And it's I don't want you as a wide receiver. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how Adonis built body you have. I want you to do the job that you're paid to do, which is hopefully stop goals, which I understand and disagree with is not how modern goalkeeping works. So let's get to the shenanigans. Let's get to where Raphael Spiegel last night became trending. Raphael Spiegel. Look at this ball! Look at it go! Look at the little ball! But look at Tommy McCabe! Look at him! He deserves better! That's a legend! That's your team captain. But like, look at Spiegel. He had that in his brain. Woo! All right, let me see if I can bring up. Hold it, everyone. Hold. What's the keeper in blue here? So here's the result of that play. Spiegel had come forward. They tell Spiegel, hey. All right, Spiegel, he's thinking he had gotten away with it for a second. Spiegel comes over, and Spiegel is shown. One second, let's watch right here. And Spiegel is back pocket and red card. So Spiegel is sent off. Spiegel is sent to the Shadow Realm. And I was talking with Q of Hooligan Soccer, a fellow Bay Area content creator. And Q is also a high-level Bay Area referee. He refs, I believe, high school, college, club, and is a really well-respected referee in this area. And he was bringing up in the press box that this may be, and I'm not kidding with you, the first ever instance in professional soccer of a goalkeeper getting a red card for throwing and trying to stop play with a foreign object, which has never happened in soccer history that we could find. There may be something deep in the weeds, but as of currently, this is a historic moment. Like, he was literally talking about they may be teaching this game at this moment in referee schools, because that's how rare, and also how well, and this, not a lot of fans will care about this, but how well the head referee, because they all have communication. So like this bottom left guy, or I guess bottom right guy, he would know that and told the head ref, hey, the goalkeeper just kicked the ball into the field. They did not stop the game, which is exactly what Spiegel wanted to do, because he was trying to stop a goal-scoring opportunity, and they let it play out. And then he got the red card. And after the game, Fought Mob and I think Orange County had said it was a red card for a violent act, which is one of the things that only ways you can get a red card is a violent act. And sources with me talking with people after the game within the Oakland Roots was that the refs hadn't even submitted their official report yet. It was down in the bowels of the Coliseum, and they were like, we were done with the press conference, and the refs were still down there writing their report. That's how batshit insane this play was, and unprecedented for referees. Let's play it again. Just watch Spiegel. Watch him. He just oh my god. And we were stunned. In the press box, we were stunned. After the game, we were stunned. I am still dumbfounded, because like, it's not uncommon for players to, when a ball gets kicked out of play, they'll kick a ball onto the field for time wasting, and they'll get a yellow card. And that's very, very not a common occurrence, but it does happen. It's specifically because he threw a ball onto the play while there was no while the ball was still on play, and because of the clear goal scoring opportunity for Orange County, the game clinching goal. But they also had Michael Edwards put on the goalkeeping backup jersey instead of putting in McIntosh, because they knew they had one opportunity. But let me bring up some more Raphael Spiegel things. This was about 3 days ago. Let me read you this. The high level poet of our time, Raphael Spiegel on Instagram, with a picture of his number 33 jersey. Most people don't know this. ... Water is frozen at 32 degrees. Fun facts. Using the American numbers, he's assimilated well. At 33 degrees, it becomes liquid. 1 degree changes everything, brick by brick. Well, the problem with this, Spiegel, the problem with this statement is that we have this moment right here. Yeah. Oh, God damn it! Yeah. You looked pretty frozen there. Agility and liquid nature are not adjectives I would like. Free flowing are not something I would describe Raphael Spiegel. This man is an offensive weapon. He cost the team absolutely nothing, from my understanding. In theory, he should be good. I can't get over the deep worry in my stomach that there's just going to be games, and like, can you imagine a playoff game where you get Spiegeled? Can you imagine a game where you get Spiegeled? And he gives up 2 bad goals. And yeah, the Oakland Roots team this year wants to be an offensive juggernaut, but I shouldn't have to expect the team to score 2 to 3 goals every game to win. You should have a goalkeeper that that can do the job. It's so frustrating because I understand why he started. I understand. And because it was a straight red card, unless it gets appealed and turned over, that's a minimum of 2 games. If it's only double yellows, then it's 1 game. He's gone for 2 games, which means McIntosh is going to be the goalkeeper against the Tampa Bay Rowdies in 2 weeks. The Tampa Bay Rowdies are undefeated. They're one of 2 teams to have all wins this season. They have 3 wins. The Tampa Bay Rowdies have beaten Pittsburgh, defending champions, blitzed. Loudoun, blitzed. Birmingham Legion squeaked by. But they have scored 7 goals to 1. They have a +6 already. They are in 2nd place in the East. And you are going to Tampa Bay in 2 weeks. That is going to be a astronomically tough game. And then, do you know what your consolation prize is the following week? You welcome Tulsa, the defending Western Conference champions, to the Oakland Coliseum. Okay, so I said earlier I was going to show you some heat maps. I'm also going to show you some. Let me see if I have any more Spiegel stuff before we get off the Spiegel talk. Though analytical wise, Oakland Roots had a higher XG. Orange County has only scored, I think, 4 goals this year. Let me double check. Make sure I'm not a liar. Orange County has scored 5 goals this year. They have only allowed 1. Oh, sorry. They've scored 4 goals. I'm a liar. And they've allowed 2 goals. That is not an offensive juggernaut. Legitimately. And they play, I think, in the USL Cup in like 4 weeks. And that's worrying. Because you should be better than Orange County. Yes, Orange County is now second in the West. You should be better than Orange County. Oh, did San Antonio win? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize this game had already happened before I recorded. Spicy. So Oakland is now in third place, tied for third, fourth because of tiebreakers in the Western Conference. I do think that Monterey Bay will not be a playoff team. I don't think Las Vegas will be a playoff team. Phoenix is a coin flip, and then New Mexico should be better than 11th currently. But there's not a lot of squeak room for teams to make some mistakes. If you're Colorado Springs, or if you're, I think Lexington should be very good. I'm shocked they got the 2-0 blitz by San Antonio. I'll have to look at those highlights. But San Antonio looks really good this year. El Paso looks good. Sacramento is always Sacramento. You have to start winning some of these games if you think you are who the fans, but also who they keep talking themselves up to be. Raphael Spiegel, I don't think you can have him as the goalkeeper going forward unless McIntosh gets absolutely blitzed. That's a rough look. It's a rough look. But I can't get over this. Like, just talking with people. A shout out to Los Roots and Homegrown Hooligans. Absolutely welcoming environment by all of you guys in the parking lot and outside the parking lot. I truly appreciate meeting a whole bunch of you guys for the first time. But I think this Roots team is or should be good. I think Wright Martin has the right idea. Also, talking with we talked with Tyler Gibson after the game, and he was pissed. Like, I'm kind of glad that they have the bye week so they can kind of just like figure this out over thing. But like, they were talking like practice this week was amazing. The game just kind of flopped. Like, it was a massive flop. But I also think people like Tommy McCabe, I think Tyler Gibson, a whole bunch of these guys are going to put belt to ass, like especially Tommy McCabe. He seems like one of those types of dude because he's so smart and he knows exactly what he wants to happen. I'm sure he was loud in the locker room after the game. I could be wrong. Players, let me know. But what a week for the Oakland Roots. Let me see if I can bring up their future schedule here for the Oakland Roots. What a list. Whew. Mama. Yeah. You could say maybe this was a concern when your 3 goal scorers are Wolfgang, awesome. Julian Bravo's number 2. Oh no. Mark Fisher. Oh no. That's probably actually pretty worrying. But I do think this Roots team is a playoff team. I'm not off the Hopium bandwagon just yet, but this team has issues. This team has injury issues, which are a lot harder to overcome, especially in the USL. If the Roots are willing to spend a bunch of money, maybe on like some loans and stuff, awesome. But this is probably the roster we have for now. And there's a lot of questions that will need to be answered, and we have 2 weeks to wait, 2 weeks to digest what could be coming forward. I'm excited to see what they put together. I'm excited to see the bounce back, because if you their next 2 games, let's see down here, is they play against the Tampa Bay Rowdies. They play against FC Tulsa. Then they play Las Vegas Lights at home on a Wednesday at 7, which is really weird. Though I actually think there's a chance that's at like some ungodly. Hold 1 second. I swear I'm entertaining, sir. I swear. There's like an 11 a.m. game or something. Can't find it. Oh, it was the Loudon game at 2:00. That's a weird game. But there will be a new moon and a new day tomorrow. The Oakland Roots are ready to roll. Let me, for all the sickos who are still here, and if you're listening to this on Spotify or any audio only platform, I do highly recommend checking out the YouTube. Because if you look here, let's look at Michael Edwards in the first half. That appears to be someone who's not playing center back. You know? That's a lot of not in the center for Michael Edwards. Tyler Gibson, another one where this looks like right wing to me. Instead of right back. This, and like you see him, he was in the middle, he's up, like he was everywhere for this game. I also always love looking at the Babosi one. Dude is absolutely everywhere. An absolute just go get him. Let me see if I can find the McCabe. Like McCabe is everywhere. But this is not the end of the season. I have to stress, as much as I am dooming about the goalkeeping situation, I do understand that the season is young. There's time to make mistakes, and there's also time to get better. And I'm excited to see what the Oakland Roots can do in the future. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe, and put a comment below. How do you feel about the Raphael Spiegel incident? I want to hear from you. Hit those comments. I will talk to you guys next week. See you then.